Welcome to the Dare to Begin Small and Mighty podcast, episode number 47. We are getting close to the end of the year, guys. And so today's episode is just getting ready for 2020, getting a little bit of perspective on things. We had a look back at 2019, and I'm ready to rock and roll into 2020. So let's get right on into it. I spent years building my interior design business, trying to do all the things: the marketing, the networking, the free content, spending thousands of dollars on training and education, only to see minimal growth. After years of frustration, I finally started to ask, what am I missing? I had the systems in place for powerful growth. I had amazing clients. I had determination, drive, and commitment to spare. And yet, I wasn't seeing the success I desired. What if business is not about the doing? What if building a powerful business requires both powerful systems and something else, something deeper? I'm Amy Van Meel, and I'm on a journey to discover that something else. If you are ready to build a powerful business and do it knowing that your success is inevitable, join me as I share both the powerful systems I know work and my lessons and revelations as I discover that something deeper. Welcome, Changemaker, to the Dare to Begin Small and Mighty podcast. Well, hey there, Changemaker. Thanks so much for tuning in today. It's Amy here. I'm excited to be joining you on this December 17th, 2019. We're getting close to the end, guys. I hope you've had a chance to listen to last week's episode where we did a little wrap on 2019. I shared with you some of the reflections that I had from 2019 with some encouragement to look back on your own year and kind of, assess all the good things and the bad things and the uneventful things that happened. Today, I want to look forward into where we're going and what is to come, because in 2 weeks, it will be New Year's Eve, which means in 2 weeks and 1 day, we will be starting 2020. Now, if you've been tuning in for a while, you'll know that in my mind, I always feel like September is more of a beginning of the year. There's something about September that just feels like a fresh start. I know many people feel like January is an opportunity to reset, to start fresh, to do something new, to make big changes. If that is you, I celebrate you. I'm excited for you. I am 100% fully behind you, whatever it is that the changes is that you're making, that you're excited for. And so today's episode, I want to dig into that a little bit. We're getting ready for 2020. We're what, a week away from Christmas. So I'm sure everybody's hair is on fire right now, getting ready for all of the stuff that's happening. If you haven't been already immersed in the Christmas parties, I'm sure it's to come. And Christmas this year is going to look a little different for me because, like I said, I have this new job and I will actually be working through Christmas, which don't feel sorry for me because it actually is 100% okay with me. It's a welcome thing for me. Christmas is not a big deal for me. And I'm way more excited about winter than I ever am about Christmas. Christmas is sort of one of those things that I kind of need to endure. I know that sounds terrible, but that's kind of how I feel about Christmas. So I'm excited, but I'm excited for you. If Christmas is your jam, then by all means, jam on, friend. I'm excited for you. So 2020, what does that look like? Where's your brain at right now? When you take a moment to step back from all the Christmassiness that's going on, and if you've been like me and immersed in all the Christmas movies on Netflix, then maybe you've been thinking about becoming a princess or a prince, or I don't know, finding love on New Year's Eve. And today I just want to, have a look at where are we going. So I think the reason that last week we did a look back on 2019 is that I think it's important to really understand and appreciate where we've come from before we can start looking forward to where we're going. I think so often we get, and when I say we, I mean myself as well, we get wrapped up in the excitement of where we're going. So for example, for me, 2020, some of the things that I am that I'm working towards, that I'm greatly looking forward to in 2020, is to release all of the leveraged money that exists in my life right now. The layman's terms to that is paying off all the debt that I have. I have been looking at it as leveraged money. I talked about that a few episodes ago, something that I learned from Catherine Zankina, the manifestation babe, to stop thinking about it as debt and stop thinking about it with all this negativity, and to actually start looking at it as what it is. It's money that has been leveraged for different purposes, whether it's through your credit card or a loan or whatever it is. It's money that has been made available to you, and we've used it. I've used it. And so now it's just a matter of being respectful and honoring the gift that it was, and putting it back into circulation. So one of the things that I've been working on through 2020, especially, or sorry, I'm already ahead of myself, guys. Through 2019, especially, has been my relationship with money. And that is something that in 2020, I look forward to continuing. I'm excited actually to see what 2020 is going to unfold. 2019 had a lot of, I came into 2019, I think, with a lot of big expectations, and many of them did not come to pass. But there's a lot of stuff that did come to pass in 2019 that I could not have expected. I could not have foreseen. There's some deep changes that have happened in my life that have happened for me, personally, internally, that I could not have anticipated at the beginning of the year. So I look at 2020 now and think, wow, from where I was this time last year, so in 2018, to where I am today, I'm super stoked for what 2020 is going to bring about. I'm excited for what's to come. I'm excited for you guys for what's to come. I mean, not just on the podcast that I'm putting out, and not just on the programs and the offerings that I'm hoping to bring about in 2020, but in your own life. I'm excited for, the opportunities that are going to open up to you. I'm excited for the growth and the change that you'll have the opportunity to experience. I'm excited for, I'm excited for you, even for the painful moments that are going to come up in 2020, for those moments of just going, what the fuck am I doing here? I'm looking forward to those, because those moments they're deep. They're integral in the journey to success, and the journey to change, and the journey to reach where we want to be. So I'm excited for those moments for you as well. So 2020 is, I'm getting ready for a great year. I mentioned last week that we recently were celebrating my boyfriend's grandmother's 100th birthday. And it really puts into perspective when you think about things that way, that, this woman has lived 100 years. She has seen 100 New Year's Eves. She's seen the change of the year 100 times. I mean, some of them, she was a baby. I get it. But, she's gone through this 100 times. And if you think about it, she was born in 1919. And the change and the, what's the word I'm looking for? Just the way the world has evolved in 100 years is astounding. I mean, I can't even quite fathom what was going on in 1919. I know that we had just come out of the war, and in about 10 years we were about to head into the Great Depression, so I'm sure that was no fun. And I mean, there's just so much, right? Like, there's so much history that I kind of know, but that I don't really know. And to me, it's just history. To her, it's life. She lived it. She was through it. Right? Like, she lived through the Depression. She lived through the Vietnam War. She lived through, the color TV coming in, and telephone coming in, and then telephone turning into cell phones, and texting and email. And I mean, just the amount of advancement that has happened in our lifetime is boggling to the mind. And I would encourage you to, as we're getting ready to roll into 2020 and all the good things that are coming out of it, and that we're excited to see in 2020, to take a moment and just think about her, think about being around for 100 years. I mean, it's staggering to think about, and the opportunity that is open to you. I think it's really good that we can take a beat and use her life, the longevity of her life, to kind of look at our own and put things into perspective. So I'm going to take myself off my soapbox here a little bit, because I get so excited to talking about these things. So let's talk about 2020. Let's talk about some of the amazing things that may be coming your way. Let's talk about how we can get you set up for a really fantastic year. How to get ready for the really amazing things, the successes that you're going to be seeing, that you're going to be celebrating and excited for, that may be bigger than you ever imagined, or maybe a little bit smaller than you could have hoped for. So a few of the things that I'm focusing on heading into 2020, one of the big things actually is forgiveness. There's a relationship in my life that has come to the point where it really needs some deep introspection on my part. And I'm not going to share any more about it other than that, but that is something that is on my mind as I'm heading into 2020, that is a relationship that I want to heal. Whether that relationship becomes reconciled or not is actually less of a concern to me, as it is to give myself some time and some space to move through what has occurred over the years of having this relationship, and what can it look like going forward. So that's one of the big things that I am looking forward to in 2020 to moving through. I am continuing on practicing a lot of the things that I have been learning with my coach, things like improving my relationship with money, and what that's going to look like. Like I said, one of my big goals for 2020 is to relieve myself of all the all the leveraged money that I have, and I'm excited to share that success when it does come about. I'm excited to share it, and yeah, working on some manifestations. So if you don't already, I would encourage you to follow Catherine Zankina on Instagram. She is Manifestation Babe. If you aren't already familiar with her, highly recommend that you go get yourself familiar with her. She has a phenomenal podcast as well called the Manifestation Babe podcast. Y'all, I can't talk today. I think my coffee has worn off. I'm just so excited about 2020. My tongue is literally like getting in the way of all the talking I want to do. So anyway, I would encourage you to follow Catherine Zankina and start practicing with your manifestation. And here's the thing. I want to just take a beat about manifestation and remind you, I know Catherine Zankina talks about this, James Wedmore talks about this, Brooke Castillo, anybody who has seen a level success as well as done some deep internal work will tell you the same. Everything that exists in your life is something that you have manifested. So that means that the crappy things that showed up, like your car getting a flat tire or needing replacement parts or a relationship that went bust or a relative that showed up on your door and in this week because it's Christmas, all of those things you have manifested. If it's a situation where you are financially strapped, you've manifested that situation. If it is a health concern, maybe you're having some deep health issues, and I'm sure I can feel it already. I'm sure that you're angry hearing this, but you've manifested it. And the truth is, we like to only think about the positive things. We only want to think about the good things that we're manifesting in. We want to take responsibility for those things. I manifested $5,000 into my bank account, or I manifested a new job, or I manifested this new partner in my life, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. I've manifested an amazing trip for me and my family. We like to think about those things and take responsibility for those things because we're excited about them, and we should be. And we should take responsibility for them. But we also need to take responsibility for everything else that we've manifested into our lives. So, as I mentioned, there's a relationship in my life that needs some attention. And this person has been forefront in my mind for the last couple of weeks. And it's not been like a point of pain necessarily, but it's just this person's cycled back into my thoughts, into the forefront of my thoughts a few times over the last few weeks. And wouldn't you know, I received a message from that person. And, the person said, I've been thinking about you and et cetera, et cetera. I just want to reach out. And I'm like, of course you have. You've reached out and you've been thinking about me because I've manifested you doing so, because you have been on my mind. And so I wasn't surprised. I think it's the first time in my history with this person that I wasn't surprised or annoyed or angry at their reaching out or whatever, because I knew that I manifested that point of contact. I also know that it's up to me how I want to respond to it, and that I don't need to, get into the deep of it or get into the grit of it. I can move through that however I want to. But I think it's important that we remember that everything that happens in our life we've manifested. Not just the good things, the less than good things as well. I briefly mentioned last week that in 2012, my life literally came apart. And I actually can't remember for sure if I've talked about this in the podcast before, but essentially on January 7th of 2012, I had a job that was all right. Wasn't loving it, but it was okay, paid the bills. I had a boyfriend that I just started dating, and I mean, he was so sexy, and I was completely over the moon for him. I had, I was going to the gym, I was in incredible shape. I had everything that I could think about. Life seemed to be pretty good. I wasn't totally happy, and I knew there were some changes that I wanted to make, but I felt like life was moving in the right direction. As January 7th came to a close, I had lost my job, and that was a shocker. And by the end of March, I had lost my apartment. My boyfriend had dumped me out of the blue. I was getting ready to move back into my mom's home, and which meant that I was moving away from everything else. And I was stunned to see how my life had just burnt to the ground in, what is that, less than 3 months. And as 2012 progressed, 2012 was a really tough year for me. It was a year of just a lot of going like, what the hell happened? And at the time, I was a much more active, what I would call Christian than I am now. My beliefs have shifted a bit. My perspective on the world has shifted a bit. And I remember thinking like, what the hell? What's going on here? I always believe that adversity is there to teach us something. And I would sit in remote fields because where I grew up was an agriculture area. So we were out in the prairies. And I'd sit in these fields in my sunfire going, what the hell happened? What am I supposed to learn from this? I don't understand how this is going to turn into something good. And by the end of 2012, I went through many more painful things and many more experiences that I really would not wish on my worst enemy. But as 2012 came to a wrap and I headed into 2013, I had a new job with a business that, a salary that I'd never had before. I was stunned by that. A boss that was just the most amazing person I'd ever worked for. That job led me to introduce me to my guy. And of course, it was through him that I moved out to Calgary and everything else that happened since. I moved into a much nicer apartment. It was actually right beside the building I lived in before, but way nicer. I was back in line with my gym. I was in the most incredible shape I'd ever been in. And there are moments that I still look back and go, holy moly, I wish that I had known at the time and really appreciated how freaking good my body looked. I was hot, y'all. I mean, not that I'm like an ugly tramp right now, but at the end of 2012, I was like, hot dog, I want to look like that again. And the truth is that 2012 was an enormous life reset for me. Everything that was, the trajectories that had been occurring at the beginning of 2012 all got thrown out the door. Everything got changed. I gained a lot of clarity in 2012. And like I said, a lot of blessings that came out of it, but it was tough. So the truth is, 2012 was, like I said, quite the year. And I would not want to go through it again. But I manifested that change. Because as 2011 was moving through and wrapping up, there was a lot of things that I was unhappy about, and I just didn't know how to change it. And the universe took care of it for me, right? Like my life turned upside down, and it took me a long time to be able to look back at that and realize that I manifested everything that happened in that year. Every painful moment, every setback, every failure, every day full of tears, I manifested every single one of them. And the beauty is that now I can look at the life that I've created today. We fast forward 7 years, and I'm skipping over a whole lot of things that have happened between now and then because we don't need to go into my life story. But I'm beginning to really understand the power of manifestation and taking responsibility for all parts of it. Not just the parts that I'm excited about, not just the successes that I'm seeing, but all parts of it. So, when this person reached out and said, I've been thinking about you, I knew right then and there, I manifested that. I manifested that point of contact, whether I wanted it or not. I manifested that into my life. So I would encourage you, we're heading into 2020. If you haven't yet, then definitely get into the practice of manifestation. You're doing it already anyway. So, wouldn't it be fantastic if you could intentionally manifest what you want rather than feeling like you're just sort of at the receiving end of whatever the universe wants to throw at you? And it sounds kind of crazy, but the universe is just throwing at you what you keep asking for. So, if you keep thinking about, I don't want to lose my job, I don't want to lose my job, I don't want to lose my job, then that's all the universe is going to be hearing. Oh, this person wants to lose their job. All right. Well, I'm not sure why we're doing that, but here you go. And, before you know it, you've lost your job. We don't want that. Well, maybe we do, but I mean, if that is something that you want, then take control of it. Take responsibility for it. Don't be focused on I don't want to lose my job. Focus instead on I want to move into a new direction in my life that is challenging and exciting and fulfills me in a way that my current experiences don't. You don't have to be. I think one of the things that gets us sort of snagged on manifestation, it is important to be super specific. So I am not going to disagree with all of the experts, if you could be called an expert in manifestation, all the experts who say, it's important to be specific. Yes, it is important to be specific. But here's what happened to me. Over the years that I've learned about manifestation and the idea that we need to be specific, I got frozen because I did not know what I wanted. And so instead of being focused on, what is it that I want to bring in, the answer that always came back, well, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. And that's all I could keep thinking about. I don't know what I want. And finally, I realized I'm like, well, I don't want to be manifesting more of this. I don't know what I want. So maybe I can just start moving in a direction. Maybe I don't need to say, I want to in 2020 own a brand new McLaren. It needs to be this model. It's going to be this color. I'm going to pay for it with money that I earned in this place or won the lottery on this date. Maybe it doesn't need to be that specific. Maybe I can look at it and say, in 2020, I would love to have the experience of something that is just so beyond what I think is capable right now, and know that I fully manifested that into my life. That in and of itself could be all that you need to focus on right now. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just a matter of, getting the beginning of an essence, the beginning of something that I think this would be really amazing. And so, maybe I'll start working my way into that direction. We're getting ready for a new year. Y'all, we're 2 weeks away. So we're close. And, we talked about the year in review. And so now let's talk about what is it that you want to bring in 2020? And I fully support whatever it is that you want to do. If you, I truly cannot remember the post that she posted about it, but Manifestation Babe has these blank checks. And so she talks about, writing these checks for herself and how she started to manifest money into her life like she just couldn't believe. And so I have been practicing with that a little bit. I have a check in front of me that was more than fulfilled for November 20th. I'm a little bit behind, guys. I need to update and put a new one together. But maybe it's, things like that. Maybe you want to manifest some financial abundance into your life. So start focusing on what you'd like to bring in. Be grateful for what is already existing. That is something that was an enormous challenge for me to learn this past year. Like I said, I've been working on healing my relationship with money and, being grateful for the money in my bank account, even if it was only $7. And knowing that, I have $7 in my bank account, I cannot pay a darn thing. I cannot go out and buy myself a cheeseburger. Like that, I can't buy a box of tampons. I mean, dudes, you probably don't really care, but like that was where my brain was at. I kept looking at this from a place of lack. I kept looking at this as like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I'm this age and this is the reality that is in my life. And finally, gratefully, I had a moment of clarity of going, Amy, oh my goodness, people have had hardships in their lives all the way throughout. Your age has nothing to do with it. So first of all, let's just stop putting that anchor around our neck, okay? Maybe our reality isn't what we want right now, but we also know that this reality is exactly what it is because I've created it to be that way. So Be grateful for what is in your life at the moment, the good and the bad, because it will give you the most beautiful perspective and opportunity to level up. Take responsibility for all aspects of it. So I'm going to cap it at that because I want to keep the end of your episodes shorter. I know you guys have lots going on. So I feel a little bit rambly today. I'm trusting that what I've talked about today is going to land and it's going to bring some impact and some inspiration for you and for your life. And I would encourage you to, look towards 2020 with great anticipation, with much excitement about what is to come, and at the same time challenge you, this is a challenge that I'm still working on, to not put a ton of emotional attachment into what is to come. So that's going to be our challenge together for 2020. Who's excited? Yeah, I'm about as excited as you are, but it's a lesson that we definitely need to learn. So I'm going to leave you with that. And definitely tune into Catherine Zankina, Manifestation Babe, on Instagram. If you aren't following me already on Instagram, please do. I Dare to Begin is where you'll find me. Feel free to send me a DM. I am going to, hopefully, I'm having some challenges in just scheduling some of the podcasts and the emails in the next couple of weeks. So I'm doing my best to make sure that I get you a couple more episodes yet this year. And I would love it if you tuned in and share it out. Heck, maybe you can listen to it on the loudspeakers while your family's all hanging out around the fire. That'd be really cool too. And if that's the case, hi family, thanks for hanging out. I wish you a phenomenal rest of the day, a phenomenal rest of the week, and I'm super excited to see you on the podcast next week. No idea what we're talking about just yet, but I am pumped for the progress that we are making, for how close we're getting to 2020, and for the incredible things that you and I are going to get to celebrate together as we reach into the next year. So with that in mind, I'm so looking forward to seeing you on the podcast next week. Bye for now. Are you tired of figuring it out all on your own? Of sitting in overwhelm, knowing that you're not moving forward, but having no idea where or how to start? Are you ready to learn effective profit-supporting strategies for your business so that you can finally earn the money you desire and step into the freedom that you're working so hard to create? If so, I invite you to join me inside the Launchpad. You'll get instant access to free training designed to meet you where you are right now and propel you forward toward the dream that you hold in your mind. It's time to make a powerful move toward your future. Time to step up and serve the people who desperately need your help. Let's not keep them waiting any longer. Today is the day. Join the Launchpad now. Just go to daretobegin.net/the Launchpad and sign up. Your success is inevitable. Now, let's launch it.